How convenient. The day before one of the worst budgets in history, I anticipate anyway that it's going to be one of the worst budgets in history, the media and the government decide to treat us to a little information regarding the Southport attacker, which was pretty much, he was a wrong un. We knew what his tendencies were, and we were right to be suspicious, and there was a justified place for our anger, despite the fact they arrested people for it. They've ruined lives over this government, and quite big hitters on social media like Dominic Cummings have openly said that the government and the police would have known simultaneously very early on about the rest of the issues. I don't want to talk about the case too much because it's a live case, but they've now found links to Al-Qaeda, and he was trying to make ricin. This is the guy that was the Southport attacker. So obviously we were right all along, not conspiracy theories and not our prejudices. But what I find disappointing is Tim Farron, the MP for South Lakeland. I'll read the tweet out to you, let it digest a minute, and I'll tell you what I think. He put, 3 little girls were murdered 3 months ago. Then and now it depresses me immensely that some people seem determined to find a way to make this evil tragedy something that justifies their prejudices, or worse, still pander to other people's for electoral purposes or clicks. So Tim Farron, who's a respected MP in the area, all that gets mentioned here is 3 little girls were murdered 3 months ago. That's a matter-of-fact statement, isn't it? That's like the car hit the wall. It's just a matter-of-fact statement. That's all the consideration those 3 little girls got from Tim Farron. The rest was basically having a go at the public for getting angry and being prejudicial. Well, I don't see any prejudice in being right about our suspicions. That's not prejudice, that's just getting it right. He was a wrong un. He was an Islamic extremist sympathiser with very, very bad intentions. That's quite obvious now. So I replied, your feeble comments are a disgrace to the people of this country. You're determined to undermine our justified anger. That amount of attacks we have had to suffer is way too high, from beheadings to machete attacks, bombings, stabbings. Your attitude breeds resentment. Stop protecting the wrongdoers. I think I've got a right to say that. He did reply, but it wasn't much of a reply, and I replied again. I thought, oh, please don't start with me because I'll argue till it comes daylight. But that's what we're up against. We're still up against it. And Dominic Cummings suggesting that the BBC were gaslighting us, and I mean, he's got off on one. He's like put about 5 tweets out about it all. It seems funny that we're now all talking about this, and we're allowed to talk about this the night before this was released yesterday. A budget. I mean, why are you having a budget? You might as well just put an announcement out. Hello, world. Good morning, Great Britain. You will be worse off with us. See ya. That's the budget, basically. We're supposed to be grateful they leaked a bit that the minimum wage has gone up. Yeah, well, that won't affect the public sector workers, will it? Because they're all ring-fenced. This is a government that's had the audacity to increase the wages for public sector workers who don't create anything to do with our economy. What they earn in the NHS and the civil service isn't good part of the economy. Us mugs that have small and medium-sized businesses that go to work every day for big corporations like Sainsbury's and Marks and Spencer's, we're the economy, not the NHS. It's not part of the economy. So we've got a man here who has absolutely no empathy, and Yvette Cooper just as bad. And I've always thought they're a bit weird in politics, and there's nothing convinced me that I'm not right. They are a bit weird. But the great thing is when something gets this bad, everyone can see it. And it's like the arrest of Tommy Robinson. According to Mayor Tusi, it's one thing that I shared, which was I shared a screenshot of something from his page, which was, let me just find it, give us a minute. Tommy Robinson has been denied the safety of solitary confinement by the governor of Belmarsh Prison, Jenny Louise, for monetary reasons. That means money. That means for financial reasons, cost cutting. So we've got a man here, whichever, doesn't matter if you like him or you don't like him, doesn't matter if you agree with what he says or you don't agree with what he says, he's only guilty of saying things. You know, his contempt of court was for showing a movie. It wasn't for battering somebody over the head. He wasn't arrested because he's hit someone with a hammer, nothing like that. He was arrested because he did something superficial, something administratively. He showed a video. Now, they've took him away to Belmarsh, a high security prison, for that. And now they're threatening to take the solitary confinement away. I mean, you know, they were putting stuff in his food last time he was inside. But what I'd like to point out, the world's a different place now because Elon Musk has afforded us free speech and Facebook aren't just as tight on their restrictions. So we have to keep an eye on that. We have to keep reminding the prison service and Belmarsh and the government and Yvette Cooper that we're all still here, very concerned about his well-being, because that's the only way to stop bullying, is to out the bullies. And unfortunately, I see the government as our bullies right now. I really do. I don't know what the budget holds. I haven't switched my telly on. I don't. I'd rather go out with my dogs. All I know is I'm going to have less money by the time they finish with us. That'll be it, won't it? Now, because it's no point being miserable. Sorry, I'm laughing at this. Dominic Cummings amuses me no end, you know, with the way he tweets stuff out, because there's nothing worse than someone jilted, and he got jilted by Boris, didn't it? But the Mirror tells us today that Theresa May's Chief of Staff, Gavin Barwell, he's only fairly young, bit of a chinless wonder, replied to X-rated porn tweets showing clips of graphic sex scenes. So Dominic Cummings has put, Barwell spent his time in number 10 surrendering British interest to Brussels and watching Twinkie porn, a supernormal combo in SW1, meaning that's normal. He spread the official disinformation in August, yabbering about the far right. Today he's yabbering about conspiracy theories, when it's now admitted that number 10 knew about Al-Qaeda terrorism almost immediately and spent August lying. The mainstream is the disinformation. He's growing on me, that fella. When I tell you that, you know, I've only been around them superficially because of Brexit, but when I say, like, I meet these MPs and they're all a bit weird, I come away from some of them sometimes and I think, hey. And this is why I like Reform, because they're so refreshing. Rupert Law's just a regular businessman who's a multimillionaire with a beautiful 800-acre farm, nailing the shirt up by DEFRA because they can't argue with him because he knows more about it than they do, and he's giving his wages to local charities in his constituency. That's brilliant. The other bloke's just a normal geezer. Tice, well, can I say? At least he's on this side of the fence. Farage, we all know what Farage's capabilities are. But the great thing you've got to remember, rather than giving up thinking, don't go all round-shouldered on me, because we are in a better place. Because now that the actual snake is running the country, rather than its tentacles in the Tory party, they're just going to keep upsetting more and more people. Lovies are coming out now, condemning the Labour Party after what they've done. So budget will just cripple them. So we're in a pretty good place. We've got to look at the big benefit with likes of Nigel Farage is that he's articulate and he does get people to listen to him, and he's getting MPs within Westminster to listen to him about the far-reaching implications of the WHO pandemic treaty. So that means he'll be able to persuade other people to say, oh, this is a no-go area, we don't want to be signing that. We don't want to be having anything to do with that because we'll lose our sovereignty. That means they can override our country and decide to lock us down, mandate medication and stuff like that. And who are these people anyway? It's funded by China and Bill Gates. What could possibly go wrong? We'll have to have Mandarin-speaking computers with no viruses. I mean, the way they're trying to set things up, obviously it's for globalism, so that you'll still be paying for all those noggins in Westminster, but they'll just be like a glorified council team. Anyway, flashback to what Dominic Cummings was on about. with Gavin Barwell. Gavin Barwell put a tweet out on the 30th of October. If Robert, meaning Jenrick, wins on Saturday, it is clear that the Conservative Party will go full Trump Farage, attacking our institutions and promoting online conspiracy theories. I guess that's what his supporters want, but for the rest of us it will be deeply concerning. Not as much knowing you're watching porn at work, you naughty boy. So I've put, come on, naughty Gavin, show us your dicky doodah. How was it for you, sir? Who, sir? You, sir. Watching porn, sir. Who, sir? Me, sir. What sort of people get into power these days? They're all. Remember what Cummins said. Cummins said it's quite normal. Barwell spent his time in number 10 surrendering British interest to Brussels and watching Twinkie porn. Super normal combo in SW1. I think I need a drink, and it's only 10:30. Actually, it's a bit later than that. So the thing is, what we've got to be careful of here is, now that Labour are in, the gloves are off. Everybody knows it's going down the pan. Even some long-standing friends of mine that don't want me to take any notice of politics sending me messages saying, Jane, what's going on? Oh, really? You want me to go back over it all? Really? Just know that next time we get a chance to vote for reform. Next time there's an election in your local council, vote for reform, because they're the only vehicle that can get us out of this mess. This is like the prelude to Mad Max, isn't it? What we're living in now. And they expect us to believe these are serious characters. I did a tweet from a clip I saw of Mayor Toosey, and that's had quite good views about Tommy being denied the protection of solitary confinement, which isn't good, is it? So it's out in the open now. Everybody knows about it, so we can keep an eye on it. And that's what we do, isn't it? That's how we use our social media. We keep an eye on things. We keep talking about it, much as they don't want us to. While we can, we should. And for every person you talk to about the big stuff, not all of it at once, obviously. We don't want to chemtrail them and talk about cokehead MPs all in one breath. It'd just be too much for them. Some people actually believe the establishment's quite respectable. Bit at a time, drip feed the information, you know what I mean? And in between, don't forget, the day belongs to you, not them. And everything that's good about it, you created. Never forget that. Keep on fighting.